Welcome everyone to our another podcast in the series on digital transformation. And today I'm delighted to have Tim with me. So Tim, thanks again for coming on board today and hopefully sharing your story about what Hytek have done. And obviously you guys have clearly achieved some really good things. But before we get into that, would you mind just telling us a wee bit about Hytek, what you guys do, what you're about?
Yeah, certainly, Patrick. Very nice to meet you. Hytek are a company based in the refueling sector. So we typically would look after commercial applications, taxi ranks, bus depots, ambulance stations, and really provide refueling for any needs they've got, be it a pump, be it underground pipe work, anything between.
Okay, so I'm assuming probably over the last 12 to 18 months, you guys have been full on as well, supporting the emergency services and being very much there to keep our
Yeah,
transport systems going.
Yeah, definitely. So we're critical in the transport supply chain. We've got
Mhm.
customers who look after ambulance stations, fire stations, hospitals, and all things like that. So it's been a really busy last 12, 18 months. But glad to see things are finally starting to settle down a little bit.
Okay, yeah. There's light at the end of the tunnel, as they say.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and as an organization that started off locally founded, you've grown, you're over 35 years in the industry. Uh, Probably your adoption of IT has been what I would call the traditional evolution when you've outgrown one product. Because I know you started off with Sage 50, you then migrated up to Sage 200. And then for me, I suppose the exciting piece was when you said, right, well, we need to do more. It's not just about invoices and VAT returns and statements. There's actually more that you needed to do. So what can you share with us what more you needed to do to help bring the business on to the next level?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, being in the refueling sector, the government has decided, quite rightly so, to legislate to say no more petrol and diesel cars from 2030.
Hmm.
And that really made us look into ourselves and think, okay, what are we going to do going forwards? We can't keep doing refueling because at some point in time that's going to hit us. So
Yeah.
really, we looked at new sectors where we've got products that we can put into the sectors that we don't know about, but we already know the products, and that kind of sparked the whole digital transformation of changing our company's culture. So I'd say we're in that process at the moment. A new CRM system is a massive part of that because it allows us to interact with customers better than we've ever done before.
So it's an interesting thing. So you were seeing changes that were coming down the line, and it was right. We need to evolve, but to help with that, it's an interesting one that it was the culture that you focused on first. So I take it you've obviously had loyal clients, you've loyal staff, etc. And you mentioned CRM. So in what area, what was the overall solution that you were thinking of, and what made you think of CRM?
So really the solution came from, as you quite rightly said, we know our customers really well. We're in a mature industry. There's very few new customers coming. If we wanted to carry on doing what we've always done, I don't think we'd need CRM. But to identify all the new sectors, understand the new customers, mail to the new customers, market to them correctly, we needed a package that could hold all that information and start to give us insights into sectors we just don't know. So really, that's where CRM came along.
Okay, so it was to allow you to obviously make decisions with knowledge and data.
Exactly, yeah. Rather than just gut feeling and I heard this guy talk about this, really put some proper data behind it, some qualitative and quantitative data, so we could make some good decisions.
Okay, so you went out to market, you started to look at what was out there. So what did you decide upon?
So we basically narrowed down the options of CRM between Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics.
Hmm.
Obviously, both massive CRM systems, both very capable of doing what they want. We are very much using a lot of Microsoft products. So we use Microsoft Office, we use Microsoft Teams, we've got Microsoft-based servers. So really, we thought it'd make sense to stick with the Microsoft platform and carry on with Microsoft Dynamics.
Okay, so You, interestingly, whilst a lot of businesses were hunkering down over the last 12 months because we just didn't know what was happening, you guys decided to roll this out over the last 12 months.
Yeah. So what better time to roll out a new system than in the middle of a global pandemic? Um, Really, we didn't want to wait any longer because obviously 9 years away, the diesel ban comes in for petrol and diesel cars. We're
Mhm.
well aware that it's going to take us a number of years to get into these new sectors and understand the customers. And there's never a quiet time really in our industry. There's no traditional times when it's busy or less busy. So we just thought, you know what, it's too important for us not to do it. So we decided to carry on.
Very good. And you're now live. So what's been the key benefits to the business for this?
I think the biggest benefits is really helping our changing culture. So before, one person might send a quote out. Would it ever get chased up? Would it ever get followed up? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. We had no way of tracking that. And a lot of the time, I think they just didn't get followed up. So now with CRM, it's got activities. So you can schedule a task for a 30 days time to chase up all your outstanding quotes. We've got the facility to look at opportunities, which we never had before. And I think from a cultural point of view, no one really knew what a lead or an opportunity was, let alone how you track it and why you would track it. So that's been massive. And the other step really is to save on duplication of data entry. So
Right. And was there a lot of data entry or a lot of duplication?
there was a lot. So every customer and every contact for every company, we would duplicate twice, one in our old CRM system, one in Sage. And in a perfect world, obviously, it's done the same. But actually, in theory, we've identified at least 8% of customers who we never had on CRM, but were active customers. So when it came to things like mailing them databases or new catalogs, they literally wouldn't get any marketing from us. So that's really nice to sort of close that loop.
So nearly 10% of your clients weren't on your radar for just saying all the wonderful things that you guys do and can do for them.
Exactly, yeah, which is mad when you think back about that now. But at the time, it got missed out on the one time when we went to go and enter the data in the first place. And of course, we never picked up because there was no link between the two that we were missing them.
So, you're now able to follow the journey. I take it right the way through, and it's almost automated. But you're from inquiry right the way through to an order going on to the system to delivery, and then the marketing over and above all of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Well,
So all the way from our initial leads, we track. Some of those get turned into opportunities. Some opportunities get turned into quotes, and some quotes get turned into orders. Which now we can start to put some data behind that as well. How many leads do we need to create an order, for example? And it also allows our account managers who are out on the road to check it wherever they are in the world. Whereas before, if they wanted to see if an order had gone out, they would have to log on via remote desktop onto our server, load up Sage. It would take them 15 minutes before they even got to the stage of seeing if the order had gone out.
so how did that impact the overall culture then? Because obviously that's empowering the people when they're in the field to have key data at their fingertips.
It is, yeah. And a part of the culture was that people were so used to doing it the other way. You have to really hold their hand through the process, show them
Yeah.
how to do it. We're in quite a lucky position that we're also recruiting lots of people as we're growing, which is brilliant.
Hmm.
So the more people we recruit are just used to working like this. We've got an international sales manager who's started, and CRM is second nature to her. So anything else would be so alien. She wouldn't comprehend it.
It's an interesting thing. So you've obviously people who we've done it this way because we've always done it, and then when you're bringing on new people, they're almost assessing you through the tools that you use.
They are, yeah, very, very much so. And I think when you get new people, you get that lovely kind of 6 month period where you can really tap them, find out how did you do this? How could
Mhm.
we do it better? Um, and before we never had the tools to be able to make it any better. Whereas now we're fairly cutting edge with the CRM system, and yeah, doing well.
Excellent. Well, obviously you guys have been through it. You're out the other side. You're evolving and obviously growing, etc. So what advice would you give other organizations that maybe were in a similar position to you beforehand? They realize we need to change, we need to evolve. What advice would you give them, Tim?
I'd say don't be scared of trying to evolve. Don't be scared of trying to change, but have a really, really good think before you start that journey, and talk to an expert who knows what they're talking about. Don't just try and manage it yourself if it's not in your comfort zone, because there's people out there like Xperience Group who have been brilliant for us to really help us along that journey.
Okay, so don't be scared.
Don't be scared, indeed.
Yeah, map it out, plan it out, and obviously it was very nice of you to mention our good sales, but obviously partner with someone that you feel can help you get there.
Exactly, and it's all about learning from them as much as you are trying to teach them how you want to do things. Listen to the recommendations people have for how you could work and why you would work in that way.
Sorry, we talked about this before, but how have you managed to navigate the pandemic? How has the last? Because obviously you're implementing new systems, you're implementing change, but you're also helping frontline businesses stay mobile on the transport network.
Yeah, it's been very busy. We furloughed a few members of staff, partly because their areas were a bit quieter. So some of the marketing staff, for example, all the trade shows got cancelled. But we brought them back in fairly quickly when we realised actually turnover isn't particularly being affected. Obviously, because we manufacture a lot of goods in our warehouse, we needed staff on the shop floor to manufacture them, to dispatch them. But yeah, it's been a really, really busy time. But I think it's been a fun time. I think a lot of people have enjoyed mucking in and doing their part.
Well, that's good. I'm delighted to hear that people have been able to feel part of the change and help and drive that change. So are there other areas that you're now looking at that you want to focus on that will help you drive more efficiencies?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I speak for probably every company that there's always things you can improve. A lot of them you probably know, and we're no exception to that. So now we've got CRM, which is our main business tool. We want to link that to the website. So again, to save duplication of data, entering it onto the website, re-entering it onto CRM, link the two of them together. So all the customer data feeds from the CRM. We want to look at dispatching better as well, which CRM can help with. So there's a fantastic bit of middleware which we can utilize again within the business without having to buy it again, which will then link to our couriers. So as soon as we send down a picking note, prints out the picking label as well, adds the delivery onto the courier network, and again it's less duplication again.
It's interesting because what you're kind of highlighting there are processes and technologies that people and organizations would probably assume with the big boys, the likes of Amazon and others. But what you're describing there for an organization that's 35 plus employees in a mature business, looking at new sectors, you're looking at ways that you can really streamline, not throw people at it, but actually systemize it, make yourselves more efficient to allow you to talk to more customers ultimately.
It is, yeah, and everything's about efficiency. We haven't done a huge amount up until probably the last 2 or 3 years. So we had a change at the top, if you like, who brought in some new ideas. Obviously, with the legislation change, that's kind of forced us to look at ourselves a little bit. But the possibilities are endless now. We can probably grow 40 or 50% in turnover wise with the right technology without increasing our overhead of staff.
I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, even when you said nearly 10% of your clients you weren't nurturing or marketing to, and you need to focus on new sectors, but ultimately to potentially realize that potential for growth in terms of turnover without adding to the overhead. I mean, that's music to everyone's ears, managing director, finance director, to say, if we can do more with the same, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's a very positive statement to be coming out with, which is fantastic. Can I ask, when you were looking to embark on this, some organizations would see it as risky. We're making investments. Will it work? Will it not work? I mean, what was your driver for choosing Xperience?
Really, we wanted someone who uses the technology we already use. So I know you already use Dynamics, which is brilliant.
Yep.
I know you use Sage 200, which is brilliant as well. And I know you two have combined the two. And you've actually written your own platform to do that combination. So we didn't ever want to spearhead any new technology because we're not that cutting edge, but we do want to rely on, again, expertise of people who have already done it.
So there was a comfort factor in knowing
There was, yeah.
that we have the people that have been there, done that, can advise, and I think that's an important thing. It's not, you're not going in to buy something off the shelf to consume. You're actually looking to have a partnership to go through the changes together.
We are, and obviously we've changed business partners to Xperience Group to make everything under one roof, which has been brilliant. We're not ones for swapping around. Our last business partner had supported us all the way through our years of Sage, but just didn't have the ability to do the CRM part to the kind of requirements that we wanted.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's aligning yourself with expertise that can guide and assist to get you to your end goal, which is obviously to understand the new sectors that you want to go into, understand your customers and the changing need of those customers, and ultimately, hopefully, build a turnover without increasing the cost base.
Yes, yeah, and that's definitely the goal. And we've got some really good dedicated people. We've got a lovely building. We've got some really good products. How can we take all of this further without breaking ourselves? If we hired a lot more staff, we'd have to look at a new building, and we don't want to do that. Everyone's happy here. So if we can just increase our throughput, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and technology can help you achieve that. And obviously, working with the right products and the right people and the right partner will ultimately get you there.
It will do, yeah.
Yeah, and so the culture now, is it? Have you seen a change in the culture internally because of some of the digital transformation changes you've made?
I think we're in the midst of a culture change still. I think anyone has got to be realistic and say culture change will take a long time, and I think it will probably take a couple of years, but we're definitely well on that path now. At the start, we got quite a lot of resistance to some of the ideas we were talking about because people had done it the same way for so long. Now they realise there is another way of doing it, which has benefits. They're definitely a lot more on board. It's probably the people who have been here longer take the longer to convince and realise that.
Yeah. And but I think what we've certainly seen with other clients is once people see the return and the value of a positive change, it almost makes it, as you say, that you're not stopping here. There's the whole web integration, there's the courier integration. It's trying to complete that circle from a customer delivery perspective.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. And people are realising that now. They're realising we can do it a different way. So let's look at it and see if the different way is better than how we've done it before. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Yeah, it's looking good.
Well, Tim, listen, thank you so much for that. For that insight, it's good to know that it isn't just about systems and processes. It's about the people, the culture, and making change for the right reasons, as you say, legislative, wanting to go into new sectors, and obviously wanting to grow the organisation. And to do that, it's whilst you want to add the right people, it's not increasing the overhead because of duplication or admin. That's actually being taken care of in the background.
Yep. Yes, it has. Yeah, and actually, since we've done the CRM project, we've hived up a company that we purchased into our building as well. So we're using technology more and more without, again, increasing overheads and spending more.
Well, listen, Tim, thank you so much for that. It was really insightful, and wish you and the team in Hytek future successes.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you very much.